All right, folks, this one's a bit different because it's really a sounding board kind of post. I've talked about this before. I've said before that I'm considering a few rabbit holes to go down to, basically. And what I'm curious is what you want to see. What do you want me to talk about? I am actually doing better on my smoking. First one I've had in almost a day. It's very hard to quit. If you don't smoke, never start. If you're underage, never start. Trust me, you do not want the smoky on your back. As evidenced by that. But the rabbit holes I'm looking at are uh, etymology, not entomology, which is insects, but etymology, which is idioms. One that comes to mind is made famous by Data and Picard on Star Trek Next Generation, where I believe LaForge says he'll burn the midnight oil. Data says that would be unwise. And then he asks, what is the etymology of that idiom? Very simply, to burn the midnight oil literally means to light your lamp late at night to continue working. This is from a time when people pretty much lived their lives sun up to sundown. And, pardon me, pretty much you just had your lamp for that very short time after sundown to finish, putting dishes away or whatever and go to bed. To burn the midnight oil would mean you are staying up late. That's what I'm talking about with etymology. There are countless little sayings out there. So if you have one you've always wondered about, let me know. Another is basically how I would lecture for American history, for Texas history, and for the other 49 states and the other parts of the world. I'm sorry, but I've not studied as much as I have for American history. I do know some, but it is pretty much Rome. Britain pre the Arthurian legend, Greece around there. I studied military history with a focus on American history. But Texas history, U.S. history, government, political science, things like that. The other is socioeconomic and political theory. I know I've done a lot of videos where I talk about the news and I respond to the news and I rip on Bloomberg or Bernie or any number of other people for saying things that are moronic. And I'll I'll probably never stop doing those just because the ammunition they hand out is endless. But there's a story I tell where I do apologize for that. Allergy season and plus that. But when I was in college, I would substitute teach. And I made it very clear to my professors that if they thought I needed to be in class, I would not take an assignment. But we had a day where the professor was not going to be there, and I only had that one class on Tuesday, Thursday. So I took a Thursday job, and it was for an AP Government, AP Economics teacher. AP Government, AP Economics, right up my alley. I was already into my junior year when I got this gig. And I was excited because I thought, okay, this is one where I'm not going to put on a video, where I'm not going to say, stay quiet and do the worksheet. I might actually be able to help. Because I've been told they are preparing for a major test. And this is not a standardized test. They were preparing for a unit test. So I brought my textbooks with me. These are collegiate textbooks, many of which were from years before the term I was in. And I was set up and ready. First class of the day. Oh, we have a sub. Everybody pulls out their phone, puts in their earbuds. as they're doing this, as they're bringing their hands up, I tell them, if I see a phone in 10 seconds or more, I take it up. Most of the class put theirs away, but there's always that one kid that says, oh, Mrs. So-and-so lets us use our phone when there's a sub. And I flat out said, school rules say no phones in class. Mrs. So-and-so did not contradict that. Therefore, as we're now at 10 plus seconds, put it away or take it up. Student said, well, you're just being a tyrant. Why this draconian rule? I said, no, it's not draconian, and it's not tyrannical. It is Jeffersonian. And I proceeded to actually lecture on political theory for an hour. All the kids put their phones up. They're out. Their pens are out. They're taking notes. We get to, that 5, 7, 10 minutes before the bell. I know when the clock's about to ring, so I let them start packing up. One of the girls in the front row says, we're actually taking a test on this on Monday. Thank you. Second period was kind of a repeat of the first, but they were a little more pliant. By third, everybody in this class had heard, and I was lecturing all day. I'm still a college student at this point. I'm just going on the bits I've learned, and I've now graduated at this point in my life. So are there parts of political theory, socioeconomic theory, and so on that you'd like to see? There's also history. We know from history that there was no King Arthur. There was no Lancelot or Galahad or whatever. Legends like this are, however loosely, based on real events. Arthur is most likely based on a Roman legionnaire who decided to stay in Britain. Merlin would be based on a Celt. Guinevere would be a Celtic priestess, princess, peasant, whatever. The knights would have been the legionnaires or centurions who stayed with him. Are there bits like this that you would like to see me talk about? All of these things, these are my passions. These are the rabbit holes I go down anyway. And before I go too long, I'm not going to make this one a long one, but there are a couple of other things. One of them, I have a copy of the speech JFK was to give in Dallas had he not been assassinated. I am working on stopping smoking so I can stop the coughing so that I can give this speech or read it. But there's little things like that where I just kind of think there's literary reviews, 1984, Brave New World, Animal Farm, Starship Troopers, and so many others, that these cautionary tales, these warnings from writers 100 years ago, are there questions you have about books? Listen, I was the weird kid in high school. Everybody else is walking around with the latest fiction novel. I graduated 25 years ago. I graduated before Harry Potter was even released or even thought of. But my compatriots, my cohorts, they were walking around with fiction books. The girls had Danielle Steele. The boys had Stephen King's. There was a bit of crossover. But I was walking around with Oliver North's book or a presidential biography or something along that lines. And that stayed with me because that's what I love to study. And that's why I went to school to teach it, even though I went into IT, because I'm not also a coach. So are there those things where it's a book you've read? And even if it's a book I have to go find and read, I love to read. So let me know. What are the sayings you've always wondered about? What are the bits of history you've always wondered about? What are the socioeconomic theory things you've always wondered about? Political theory, books, anything along those lines. This is my sounding board post. It's actually going to become my pinned post so that anyone new to the channel, when they just click on the channel, they'll see it. Because if I'm going to try to make a go at making these videos so I can get out of this and maybe actually finish the house and repaint a wall or what have you, I need to know what you want to watch. I try to keep my videos as close to 10 to 12 minutes as possible. I don't always succeed, but let me know if that's something else. If you'd rather see shorter videos, longer videos, is the 10 to 12 good? I mean, it's an old saying, but leave the audience wanting more. And that's what I'm trying to do. I've talked long enough. I need to go to bed. It's after midnight here, and I do have to be at work in the morning. So let me know what you think. This is my sounding board. What do you want to see videos about? Are there sayings? Are there bits of history, political theory, socioeconomic theory, other things that you'd like to see a book nerd and a history nerd and a politics nerd and an economics nerd and a sociology and psychology nerd talk about? Until next time, everybody have a great day. I do hope you go on and like the video, subscribe, turn on notifications. I don't have a schedule for this. I know that I need to get on a schedule, but I need topics. I need material, and that's what I'm asking you for. So please go on and subscribe and turn on notifications so that once I really get going with this, you'll be able to stay up to date. Again, until next time, everyone have a wonderful day.